It is still January, and that means it's still the transfer market, and that means that Leeds United probably have a very big sale coming. There is a hell of a lot of news today, and this is just one of the many LUFC updates. I'm going to try and get them all into one video just to make sure everyone understands absolutely everything that's going on without having to click through a bunch of different videos. So stick around to get a better idea of the club's general direction, and because I kind of need to get 250 more watch hours to get ad revenue. However, you sticking around no matter what would be much appreciated. So, first news story of the day. I'm obviously not going to start with the sale. I'm going to start with Charlie Cresswell, who might be for sale. It's a little bit of a confusing one. The club are reportedly expected to seriously consider offers at this point for Charlie Cresswell. Understandable. And as far as I can tell, this isn't just on loan. This is permanent as well, because Leeds United are apparently valuing the player at about £4 million. Now, £4 million doesn't seem like much, but then again, he's a player that isn't quite in the early developmental years of his career, and although he is like a lower level championship player at the moment, there isn't evidence that he will continue to grow and grow and grow. I do think £4 million is a little bit low. However, sometimes you're sort of stuck accepting these offers, especially in January in the championship when clubs don't necessarily have the funding that they'd want throughout the rest of the season. There's a potential issue with selling him, however, and that is that the Whites want 4 senior centre-backs in the side. I went through it, looked at them. Rodon, Strauch, Cooper. If we sell Cresswell, that's a pretty big question mark. I guess Ampadu can fit in there, but I feel like then we need another midfielder to fill in that gap. I think if we end up selling Charlie Cresswell, we'll definitely need to sign someone new, and I think that will be coming in the final days of the window. There are 2 weeks left, so I feel like we should probably get a move on. I know I said we need to be patient, and I expect stuff to happen in like the last 5 days, but even I'm allowed to get tetchy sometimes. One of the things that Leeds United need to keep an eye out for, though, is make sure they are not selling to rivals. We are in the later stages of the transfer window and of the championship season. We're slightly more than halfway through now. We know who the threats are. We just need to make sure we do not sell Charlie Cresswell to one of those threats. Because if we end up selling him to Ipswich and then he scores a header in that match, oh boy, is there going to be a problem. Now, next news story is about someone coming in rather than going out. Fullback hunt. The fullback hunt has been going for a long time since we learned that Spence went home and Luke Ayling left to Middlesbrough. And I'm going to run through all the potential candidates that we might sign. There's a lot of them. So, a potential move for Nico Williams has been ruled out by Nottingham Forest. This is because Nuno was very effusive when he was saying, no, we want Nico Williams here, we think he's good. That tells me that they are not going to immediately turn around on that and give him to us. I did think for a moment that FFP might force their hand and make them sell, but the odds of that are pretty low compared to the fact that they are trying to get quite defensive over FFP and say, no, we're actually completely fine. So it's hard to say, no, our FFP is completely okay and our finances are good, and then sell players in a panic. That doesn't really add up. That makes me think that they are probably not going to get rid of Nico Williams. A player that is slightly more realistic, in my opinion, is Connor Roberts, who is still on the club's radar. Although he's got a good few minutes for Burnley this season, he hasn't actually started a game for them since October. That tells me that he's more of a rotation player at this point, and he's not at the earliest stages of his career anymore. He might just want to get the minutes, especially if it's a championship club that look like they could fight for promotion, with a lot of Welsh players around him, because Ampadu, Rodon, Dan James, it would be a very sort of homely atmosphere for someone like Connor Roberts. And if that is to happen, I don't think I'd complain. I think he's good enough for the championship. There is also a potential move for Ben Davies on the cards at Tottenham Hotspur. Off the top of my head, I don't know if Ben Davies is a left back, so I'm going to have a very quick check. I had someone ask the other day if I edit my videos, and the fact that I keep doing this is a sign that no, I do not edit my videos. Yeah, he can play left back. He's more of a centre back or a left midfielder once or twice. I think he'd cover that Charlie Cresswell gap pretty well. I think he'd pair really well with Rodon, with Strauch, although more likely Rodon because he's a left centre back. Yeah, he gives us a little bit of cover. He can play at left back. I'd rather he didn't play at left back because I quite like our current ones and I like attacking fullbacks, but it all comes down to what Daniel Farke wants. This feels slightly unlikely unless Spurs make some big moves at the back in the rest of the transfer window, just because he's not been like a fundamental part of their team right now, but he's still getting minutes. He's had 898 minutes so far this season, 14 appearances. He's managed to score a goal as well, which is not too bad. But I don't see them giving him up very easily, especially considering he's still getting the occasional minute. They'd need to get someone in to cover for that. There are some alternatives. That includes Ryan Giles at Luton. It's someone we apparently looked at last season. He is an attacking fullback that's quite promising, but he's not getting the minutes he wants at Luton. Or Borna Barisic at Rangers. Borna Barisic, I have realised I do not know enough about, so I'll be 1 second and make sure I know a little bit more about him. Thought so, yeah. He is a Croatian left-back. He's a little bit of a hard man sort of left-back, kicks people quite a lot. Doesn't seem to have much in terms of attacking output. He's got 2 assists all season, but again, he's not getting the minutes that he'd necessarily want. So is someone that we could potentially buy. Now, to the thumbnail and title story, because there is a potentially very, very big sale coming for Leeds United. The loan army, all of the people that we've handed out on loan, has a lot of potential value in it, but only one player has necessarily shone at the club they're at. I forgot about Jack Harrison. 2 players have shone at the clubs they're at. And it's a potential £12 million fee, but it's very, very complicated for Leeds United. It's something that we'll need to think through and work out. It's Marc Roca at Real Betis. Now, Marc Roca at Real Betis has paired up with Isco, who also came in over the summer, and been absolutely impeccable in every single match I've watched him play in. I've seen a good few of them as well. And he's a very creative passer when he's not in a Marsh system. I think he'd do quite well under Daniel Farke as a playmaker, alongside Ampadu or alongside Gruev. However, he's one of the players that left on loan, immediately abandoned ship despite not being very good last season, and that makes us very, very annoyed with him. There are a few potential complications with the move, though, and the fact is it could rely on us staying down. If we stay down, there is a clause that allows Real Betis to just buy him for £12 million in their loan contract, because Marc Roca clearly doesn't want to play at a championship club. And I understand that from his point of view. Again, it's a bit shit from our point of view, but it is what it is. I think Real Betis will want to negotiate from a position of strength on this one. They will want to be the ones that are able to force the issue. Whereas if we are in the Premier League, we can sort of afford to turn offers down. We can say, well, no, we paid 20-something million quid for Marc Roca. I'm going to find the specific number right now. And us giving away Marc Roca for 12 is a little bit daft. Although Transfermarkt says his current value is 10 million euros, that feels a little bit wrong to me. Yeah, we signed him for 7 million. No, 12 million, which isn't too bad. We would get what we paid back. But I think there's a profit there. I think he's really come on whilst he's at Betis. So if we're able to go up, if we're able to force a sale, not even necessarily to Betis, but to a club that is happy to pay a little bit more, that would be absolutely spectacular to me. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Like the video if you did, comment down below what you think about all of the deals. Subscribe if you haven't yet. You could even become a channel member, costs a couple of quid a month, but if you fancy it, go for it. Hopefully you watch another one of my videos after this as well. That makes sure that the algorithm's like, oh, this guy's good, which is very, very nice. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you later. If you have seen this, thank you for helping with the watch hours thing. It's much appreciated.